سلام رفقا، امیدوارم که حالتون خوب باشه. از ویدیو لذت ببرین. حمایت یادتون نره. دمتون گرم. یکی از بچه ها گفته بود اسفکری برم. این گیمم درخواستیه.
Greetings. What is it now?
Give me something to do!
Greetings. I must hunt soon. Very well. What, mortal? What is it now? I must hunt soon. What, mortal? I must hunt soon. Agreed. Greetings. That was my plan. Very well. What, mortal? I must hunt soon. What is it now? Agreed.
پایین احتمالاً توسکار بترایدر یا توسکار پوکنا میان دیگه.
That was my plan. Very well. What, mortal? You thought of that? Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. Death rages. Die. Very well. Agreed. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan.
What?
I must hunt soon. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? What?
Our allies' town needs help.
Soon. I hunger. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. Greetings. I must hunt soon. Death rages. I hunger. Agreed.
Our allies' town needs
That
help.
was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? I hunger. Death rages.
Our allies' town needs help.
I hunger. Death rages. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. Very well. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? plan. I hunger. Rages. From that. Die. Very well. That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. What?
Our allies' town
That was
needs
my
help.
plan. I hunger. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well.
First blood.
That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. Death rages. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. Greetings. That was very well. Soon. You thought of that? Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. I hunger. Die. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Your soul is mine. Death rages. Agreed. You thought of that?
الان تقریبا داره دقیقه 5 میشه، به خاطر همون دارم لاینو میکشم جلو. الان میره گلدا رو برداره.
That was my plan. I hunger. Agreed. Die. Your soul is mine. That was my plan. You thought of that?
Our allies' town needs help.
Rages. Very well. Hello. Agreed.
Our allies' town needs help.
I hunger. Very well. You thought of that?
زیادی برم جلو توسکار یک کنه بگیره میمیرم.
Agreed. You thought of that?
اینجور موقع بهتره که طمع نکنین دیگه.
What mortal? You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? Die. Very well. Death rages. That was my plan. Agreed. I hunger. Die. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. Death rages. Die. You thought of that? Death rages. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? Very well. Die. Death rages. Die. That was my plan. Very well. I hunger. Your soul is mine. That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? Death rages.
Our allies' town needs help.
Agreed. Die. Death rages. Very well. You thought of that? Very well. I hunger. Death rages. Die. is it now? I must hunt soon. Agreed. Greetings. Very well. Thought of that. I hunger. Very well. That was my plan.
Our allies'
What?
town needs help.
Agreed. I hunger. Die. I must hunt soon. You thought of that? What is it now? I must hunt soon. Death rages. Very well. That was my plan. Very well. Greetings. I must hunt soon. You thought of that? Very well. Die. You thought of that? Agreed. You thought of that? What, mortal? Death rages. Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. Who'd you want to kill? I must hunt soon. I hunger.
Our allies' town needs help.
One axe? I love. What is it now? Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. What, mortal? They must hunt soon. Agreed. Die. I hunger. Killing spree. Very well. You thought of that? Would you want to what, mortal? Very well. That was my double kill. I love what is it now?
Our warriors have engaged
Thought
the
of
enemy.
that? Agreed. One axe. Greetings. Very well. You thought of that? Agreed. I hunger. Agreed. Very well. What, mortal? You thought of that? Death rages. I hunger. Death rages. What is it now? What you want? I must hunt soon. That was my plan. What is it?
Greetings, my lord.
Greetings. Thought of that? What you want to kill? I must hunt.
Our warriors have engaged the
That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that? What, mortal? Would you want to kill? I must hunt. What is it now? Greed. Mega kill. That was my plan. What, mortal?
Our allies' town needs help.
want? I kill.
Our warriors have engaged the enemy.
یا اسیستی گرفتیم با دومیناتور.
Very well. You want axe?
Welcome to our village.
Must hunt soon.
Our allies' town needs help.
That was my plan. Agreed. Who'd you want to kill? What, mortal? Very well. I must hunt soon. Agreed. What, mortal? Very well. I must hunt soon. Death rages. Killing
Our warriors have engaged the enemy.
Thought of that? That was my plan. I hunger. You thought of that? That was my plan. What is it now? What, mortal? Agreed. Greetings. What is it now? I must hunt. What, mortal? is it now? I must hunt soon. That was my plan. Unstoppable. Agreed.
Our warriors have engaged
You
the
thought
enemy.
of that? Agreed. That was my plan.
Wicked sick. Double kill.
That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. What? Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. Death rages. Die. You thought of that? That was my plan. Agreed. What is it now?
Our warriors have engaged the enemy.
You thought of that? Must hunt soon. Very well. What? I wish what is it? Rages. I must hunt soon. Very well. Greetings. What, mortal? That was my plan. You thought of that? That makes my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? Agreed. What is it now? What, mortal? Very well. Die. I must hunt soon. Agreed.
Dominating.
What, mortal? That was my plan. Very well. I must hunt soon. What is it now? That was my plan. Greetings. What is it now? What, mortal? I must hunt soon. What, mortal? You thought of that? Very well. Soon. Greetings. You thought of that? Agreed. What? That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. What is
Our
it now?
warriors have engaged the
You
enemy.
thought of that? I must hunt soon. Greetings. What, mortal? Greetings. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Agreed.
Unstoppable.
That was my plan. What is it now? Greetings. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Greetings. What, mortal? I hunger. Death rages.
Our warriors have engaged the enemy.
Agreed. That was my plan. I must hunt soon. I hunger. What? What is it now? Agreed. That is my plan. Death rages. I must hunt soon. Very well.
the enemy.
What? Thought of that? That was my plan. Greetings. Thought of that?
Our allies' town needs help.
What, mortal? Greetings. I hunger. That was my plan. Death rages. I hunger. I bow. What? What is it? Very well.
Our allies' town needs help.
What, mortal? That was my plan. Agreed. What is it now? I hunger. Agreed. Greeting. What, mortal? Greeting. What, mortal? That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. What is it now? Die. Agreed. That was my plan. Thought of that. I must hunt soon. Death rages. Agreed. I hunger. Thought of that. What is it now?
Our allies'
That
town
was
needs
my
help.
plan. Death rages. I must hunt soon. What, mortal? Very well. Greetings.
خب بگیریم بریم تموم کنیم دیگه.
You thought of that? What is it now? What, mortal? I must hunt soon. What, mortal? Greetings. I hunger. That was my plan. I must hunt soon. Greetings. I must hunt soon. You thought of that? You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan.
Unstoppable.
Rages. That was my plan. Agreed. What is it now?
Killing spree. Dominating kill.
Die. You thought of that? That was my plan.
Triple kill.
That was my plan. What? That was my plan.
Unstoppable.
That was my plan.
بنده خدا دوتا خورد.
Agreed. You thought of that. That was my plan. I am ready.
امیدوارم که لذت برده باشین دوستان. حمایت یادتون نره. تا ویدیوی دیگه فعلا خداحافظ.